Ahoy, mateys. Welcome aboard my podcast. I am Jason with Jay's Paradise Travels. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. Today I'm going to be relating my experience going back to Greece pretty much, and many different places that I've been before and got to go again. Before I get into this week's episode, just a little housekeeping to do. If you do want to go on vacation, perhaps you'd like to go on a cruise to Greece like I did, or just go see Greece in general, if that's something that you'd like to do, you can reach out to me. I've got a couple ways that you can reach out to me by. You could do one through email. My email address is jay, dot paradise_travels@gmail.com, or you can reach out to me through social media. I have both a Facebook and Instagram account. They're the exact same thing. They're both Jay's Paradise Travels. That's Jays. There's no apostrophe in that. Jay's Paradise Travels. You can look me up there and reach out to me that way as well. So either one of those two ways you can get a hold of me. All right, so let me go ahead and talk about this. This podcast is something that I initially, when I was going on this trip, was not going to do. I say that because I have gone to some of these places and have even done a podcast on them before. So going into there, I knew I was going to come away with at least three podcasts that I wanted to do. I was going to talk about Celebrity Cruise Line itself. I've done a podcast on that. Feel free to check it out. I was going to talk about Thessaloniki, my experience with Thessaloniki, because it was my first time there. I've done a podcast on that. Please check it out. And then also, for our second stop, was going to be in Cyprus, a place that I hadn't been before. It would be my first time there. And again, I was going to do a podcast on that. I've done it. Please check it out. I was going to have at least three. Everything else that was on the itinerary was something that I've done in the past and something that most of it I've done a podcast on. So I thought to myself, I'm only going to really just do these. I'm not going to focus on a podcast for everything else. However, I had such a great time and there was so much to see and do that I decided when I came back, you know what? I am going to do a podcast and I'm going to talk about some of these places that I've been before. And a lot of times because not only did I get to go back and see some of the beautiful things that I've seen before, but I also got to experience some new things as well. And it's just so unbelievably gorgeous in some of these places. I just feel like I have to talk about it. So I'm going to continue on with my trip that I just got back on. It was a Greek cruise, a 10-day Greek cruise. I'd already talked about, again, in my podcast, Celebrity Cruise Line, the actual cruise line itself, and as well as being in Thessaloniki, as well as being in Cyprus. Now I'm going to continue on. The next stop after that, we had, this is how the itinerary went. It was a round trip out of Athens. And our first 2 days we were in Thessaloniki. We had a day at sea. We hit Cyprus and then had another day at sea. After that, we had 4 consecutive stops right in a row before we head back to Athens. The first place that we went to in that 4 day stretch was Rhodes. Rhodes was something that we did have an excursion booked on it. It was an excursion that I had done before, and I was happy to go again because I did enjoy it a lot. The excursion included being picked up at the cruise ship, and you go out to a place called Lindos. And at Lindos, they have a town that is situated right by the mountain, I guess you could say, or the big hill, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, which on our way there, something that was a little unique that we did not do last time. On our way there, we actually stopped at a place where they did pottery, I guess you could say, like the old fashioned, the wheel turning and the guys shaping it. And they have that whole procedure of being able to make it look like a beautiful piece of pottery. And pottery can be used for art, it could be used for things around the house, a plate, what else did they put water in there, olive oil, perfume. They had all kinds of things that they've used it for in the past. So we actually stopped at a place. This was something that we did not do the previous time we went. We stopped at a place. We got to see a guy. He was training. I think it was either his daughter or his granddaughter, um, training her a little bit. She was a little girl, and we saw him mold it or whatever they do, whatever the name of it is. I don't even know. And then we got to see a whole little bit more presentation of like the different steps afterwards. And then there was this big shop that they had all different kinds of things there, all decorated very nice. I didn't buy anything myself, but you could buy things. Um, and so that was kind of cool. That was something I hadn't seen before. I do remember seeing a guy doing that years ago. One of the first times I went when I was like 10 years old. When I was 10 years old and went to Greece, my mind was just on video games at the time, playing arcade games. I wasn't really appreciating the beauty and appreciating everything that I was surrounded by at the time. As an adult, of course, now I appreciate it more. So I do remember seeing a guy doing that when I was younger and looking at it, thinking, okay, this is fascinating. I think I was more so pretending to be fascinated by it, but again, I'm 10 years old. I'm just focused on video games. Anyway, fast forward many years later, here I am again. I can see it and I can really appreciate what the guy is doing, what he's training his either daughter or granddaughter to do. And no doubt it's something that takes years of being able to practice it to know really what's going on with it. So we hit that first on our way over to Lindos. While we were there too, um, we did pick up. There was just like a fruit tree outside. There was these little fruits that we got picked off. My dad washed them off, and we started eating them, trying them. I don't remember what the names of those were. At first I wasn't really too interested in trying it, but I did try one just to try it. Actually, it wasn't that bad. That was kind of interesting. We were on a big bus. Later on, um, a smaller vehicle came up beside us. They were from our cruise ship as well, but it was more like a private tour. We did this one through Celebrity. We had a big bus that went over there. When we got over there, there was in all we had 9 people in my party. The bus itself held a lot more, and it's probably a good, I don't know, anywhere half hour to an hour away from where the port was. And I do remember going there, and certain things that I remembered, certain spots were still there, and I thought it was kind of cool. We get there, we have to walk into town, so to speak. And she was saying that there was a certain time that we needed to be back by the bus, and we could come back to this exact spot and take a taxi cab. We could take a shuttle service that they have, or we could just walk back up. However, we were about to do a lot of walking to get up this mountain or hill. I don't know whatever it's called, and maybe wouldn't want to walk back to the bus, and if not, that's okay. Anyway, so we're following her up to there. Not everyone ended up going though. I know at least 2 people in our party decided to stick around in the town and kind of walk around, do some shopping. They got a lot of um, shops there, souvenirs, bakeries, all kinds of things to spend time looking in and out of. Um, if that's something that you enjoy doing on vacation, if you're the type that likes to go into the local shops, I mean, you definitely would love this. That's something that uh, a couple of people did. I got to do a little bit of it, but we were kind of on our way up there. Um, it could be a little bit narrow to get up there, and you got people coming and going both ways, which you have to be. I have to say, you have to be able to walk. You have to be in somewhat decent shape. You don't have to be a marathon runner, but decent enough shape to be able to walk up. You're walking up quite a bit, and you're in some points there's not exactly a guardrail either. So if you're a little bit nervous of heights, you might have to get over that in order to get past it. I mean, it's not like you're super cramped and you're going to fall off, but if you're a little nervous with space or anything like that, may be it may be a little difficult for you, but not impossible. Just as a heads up. I've been up there before, and I could have easily stayed with my friends down in the town before and not made the walk up because it is quite a bit of a walk and it's quite a bit of exercise to do it. However, first off, I'm on a cruise ship. I've been eating a lot of stuff. I could probably use the exercise, that's for sure. And I do have the ability to walk. I mean, uh, I'm not like Mr. Men's Health or anything like that, but I'm not completely useless and sluggish. I can participate in activities. I can be active. So I decided to go up there, but also at the same time, and the biggest reason why I wanted to do it was because I remember how beautiful the view was once you got up there. And I wanted to see it again, as well as to see my friends' reaction to it and see how they enjoyed it. So we went all the way up there. Now, there's a lot of people, as I said, coming and going, different tour groups from different either cruises or even within the cruise ship itself, uh, coming and going. We get up there, we get all our tickets. It's all part of the package that you bought from the cruise line anyway. We get our tickets. Some of our friends, I thought we lost them. I thought they were going to come back down, but they eventually did come up. And so we had everyone except for those two. And we get to the base of it. From there, the tour guide is talking to us. Her name was Nectar, and I kind of like short from Nectarine. I was giving her a little bit of our time. I liked her. She was fun to be around. I kept calling her everything else, like apple, banana, any other fruit I could think of. And uh, at first, I don't know if she was too fond of that, but she understood that I was just joking. Well, anyways, um, thankfully she did have a little device that we could put in our ears and kind of hear her, even if we weren't exactly right next to her. We got up there to kind of to the base of it, I guess you could say, which even when you got to walk up to get to the base of that too, past all the shops and then walk up a little bit of the mountain a bit and get to that base. Um, and then from there, you're going to see like this big, long staircase that goes up to the ruins. From where you're at, though, you have the ability to sit and talk with her. She's explaining some things. You can still see some nice views from there, too. But as you're heading up there, so this is their version. I mean, this is their Acropolis in Lindos. And something I had learned was that a lot of different cities in Greece had their Acropolises back then. It's where they did their worship to their gods. And a lot of them uh, were always like at the height or the peak of wherever that it was. They usually built them on the top, almost kind of like a fortress in a way, but I don't necessarily think they used it in that way. Um, but Acropolis, it kind of meant like at the edge of the city or at the peak of the city. I kept getting definitions of it. Definitely the polis part of it meant city, or acro was. I kept hearing different things, but like with the height of it, or they kept referring to like acrobats or acrophobia, and I kept hearing that from different tour guides. So Acropolis is like the edge of the city or something, or the peak of the city, the height of the city, something to that effect. Anyway, so we had to go all the way up there to get to there, and again, a lot of walking, a lot of stairs. Not exactly for the faint of heart, or got to be in somewhat good shape to do it. But once we got up there, even when we got up to the stairs, we're standing there. We're not quite at the top yet, but we're almost there. She stops, talks a little bit, um, kind of gives us a rundown on a few things, um, and then she's like, "All right, here's where I leave you. You guys have fun, enjoy. We need to meet back at the bus by X amount of time," which was like another hour or so, whatever it was. And then you kind of walk up. You have a couple ways of doing it. Couple entrance points, but we went the one way that it kind of was off to the side. And once you start getting up to that top and you look out and you see the views, and it's just unbelievably gorgeous. So there's one view that looks out towards like the city part of it, all those different shops and uh, everything that you just left behind, I guess you could say, is over there. You can see that. But then the other viewpoints, now you're looking at, if you look, once you get up to the top and past it, now you're looking at the water. And it's so beautiful up there. It's so beautiful, in fact, that again, that's why I was like, I will be okay making this walk again because I want to be able to see it. And what was really nice was it was kind of a breezy day up there. It was kind of breezy, so it wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold because the sun was shining. It was a beautiful day in that sense. And you're going to get warm as you're walking up a mountain, but you get up there and there's this little bit of a cool breeze, and it feels good. Um, and so we took some pictures with each other, and uh, we were able to just look around. I could see how much my friends were loving it, and how they, it was worth the walk up there. So much so that we took probably a little bit more time than we needed to up there. We needed to eventually get back down. We did though. We did start eventually getting back down after the nice view. And then on the way down, there's like this little stand that has drinks there. I remember the first time we came years ago, we went down there, we stopped, used the bathroom, and got a frozen drink. And I was like, all right, well, I gotta do that again. That's gonna be coming out tradition. And sure enough, I did. I got it's like a frozen. They had lemonade. I didn't get the lemonade. It was like a frozen blue slushy type of drink, and it was really good. They had other stuff there. They had the blue, red. Forgot the other colors. They had beer, water. They had pastries. I think my friend got a cinnamon roll and some lemonade. Um, Bunch of stuff. But it's not like huge. It was like a small little stand, and they had a few places to sit. I took mine to go. Um, and walk down. Walking down, obviously, walking down is going to be easier than walking up. But walking down now, you're kind of closer to the edge as you're coming down. There's no railings, which is kind of interesting. Going up or down from the base, as well as from the base up into the Acropolis, and that big long staircase. There's not really a railing there either. If you're going up it, you're kind of by a wall, but when you're coming down it, you're on the right side. There's nothing really there. You just got to be careful, I guess. Not impossible, but just something you gotta deal with. Anyways, so we got back down to town. They did do a little shopping, a little time left, and then we actually ended up taking the shuttle back to the bus. All of us were there on time. It worked out just fine. Glad about that. I think that to get on the shuttle was like a euro per person, something like that. It wasn't too bad. And that shuttle goes around everywhere else, but the first stop is where the buses were. So we get on the bus, start heading back. I'm super excited that I got to see that again. And I'm super excited even more so that my friends got to see it and I got to see their reaction to it, how much they loved it. Our two friends that ended up staying in town, it was a married couple, they seemed to enjoy it down there. They were good with it. Um, so, anyways, we get back, and the majority of the friends are wanting to go back on the cruise ship. And I remember last time we came, we got dropped off. Part of that tour that included Lindos also dealt with seeing like ancient roads where they have an old fort and moat and all kinds of these ancient ruins that we saw that was in town. This one actually didn't do this wasn't a part of that, but you could still go see it if you wanted to. We get dropped off at the cruise ship, and it's familiar. I remember being in that exact port last time, but our ship was in a different. There's like three ships that it could hold. We were in one area, but now we're in a different one. Anyways, the majority of the friends wanted to go back on. I think either wanted to grab something to eat or go to their rooms, whatever the case is. But that couple wanted to go back into town. They wanted to go like find a massage. They didn't want to get a massage on the cruise ship. A little pricey, which is understandable. So they wanted to get a massage in town somewhere that might be a little cheaper. All right. So we went with them to go find. We weren't getting me and my dad weren't getting a massage, but uh, we were happy to go with them. So we bypassed all these shops, all these different places. He Google mapped it or found something that was maybe like a 10-minute walk away. So we went with him, walked our way through the streets. I'm seeing areas and shops and restaurants that I hadn't seen before last time when I came. We go down this little road and eventually do find it. No one's there. No one's there. They had I think it was like you had to like message them through WhatsApp or something to that effect to let them know you were there. A little different. They did, and pretty much made an appointment right there and then. So they were good. And then afterwards, they were just going to head back. All right. So we started walking back, and we come across this really nice restaurant-looking place that had some greenery in it. It had a rustic look to it, which we liked. Decided to go there and eat something. I went back and told them, hey, if you do need us, we're just down a little ways at this restaurant getting a bite to eat. And I got some sort of platter that had all different kinds of meats on it. It was different, like souvlaki and gyro meat, chicken, salad, fries, all that type of stuff on this. And it was really good. And one thing I'll continue to say when it comes to food in Greece, you could get a big plate of food. And if I were to eat that big plate of food here in the States, afterwards I'd be like, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm going to explode. That's how I feel. In Greece, you eat it, I eat it, and afterwards I'm like, all right, I'm full, I'm satisfied, and that's it. Like the quality of food, I don't know if they don't put as many bad things in it or what it is exactly, but the quality of food is really good, and afterwards you feel good, you feel content, you feel full, and it was a pleasant experience there. It did start raining on us a little bit, which was kind of a bummer, but they did have the ability to like close the roof. They could open it and let in the sunshine. You could see the greenery, but they also had the ability to close the roof. And when they did that, and we didn't get rained on. I did have a little light jacket with a hoodie on it, so at least afterwards, if I was going to be walking in the rain, I could I could be okay. But thankfully, by the time we got out of there, um, it wasn't raining anymore. We started heading back towards the ship, and in doing so, we walked by these different stores and everything. We didn't really go shopping or anything. My dad was looking for a specific chocolate that he liked after we had eaten lunch. It felt like something sweet. I'm not against that by any means. Couldn't quite find it, which is all right. So we just headed back, and we got we got through the town, through the entrance to get out towards where the water is. You almost see like this old fort looking thing with this, it's not necessarily an arch, but this opening. And it's kind of cool looking if you like that type of ancient look. I kind of do. So went through there, went back on the ship, and that was our day in Rhodes. Rhodes is beautiful, especially if you get to go to Lindos and go up and see that Acropolis. And Rhodes has a nice mixture of new stuff as well as old stuff to see too. I guess that could be kind of the case a lot just in Greece in general, but really nice place to visit. And if that's something you ever do want to visit again, let me know. I'd be happy to help you get to Rhodes, maybe on a cruise ship or something like that. Definitely worth seeing. Yep, so that was Rhodes. So Rhodes was, I guess technically that was our third stop that we were there. We were there all day. We left Rhodes. Now this was again was the first of four straight in a row before we're ending. And the next day we were out of Rhodes. We went over and stopped in Turkey, and where we were, the port that we were on was Kusadasi. I had heard someone say Kusadasi, almost like a remember those little kushes when you like back in the 90s, they looked like a bunch of I don't know a fluffy coral that you could toss around. I mean, they were made for kids. A koosh ball. I heard someone say Kusadasi. I guess that could be accurate. I don't know. But I say Kusadasi. So we poured it at Kusadasi, and this was something that, again, I've been before. I've done a podcast on it. Feel free to listen to the other podcasts. Years ago when we did go, we went on Celestial Cruise Line and we hit like 6 stops in 4 days. So we crammed in a lot of things. Rhodes, when we did go to Rhodes, just circle back to that real quick, was an all-day thing. That was pretty much the only all-day port that we went to back on when we went on Celestial. This time going on Celebrity, all these stops were all day, and Rhodes was one of them. Definitely gorgeous place. When we went to Kusadasi, we were only there for the morning to like the afternoon, and then eventually left and went over to I think Patmos was the second stop that day. So we only were there half a day. This time we're there all day. And the tour that we went on was the tour that we did before. It was of ancient Ephesus. And I think it's pretty cool. There was something I was really looking forward to. So we get off the boat and we're all together again. I say all together, all of us, all 9 of us. And when we get off the boat, we see local dancers, people like in their traditional garb out there doing like a local dance. Um, as we're heading over towards getting into our bus. This was actually for our fourth stop. We had four straight times, even though there were two sea days in between, four straight times of having a tour planned through Celebrity Cruise Line. And we get on the bus. This time was the fourth one, the last one that we actually had a tour set up. This one was a guy. The last three were all women. This one was a guy. And he was all right. He was all right. He was okay. There was a lot of things that he said that I thought was maybe not 100% accurate based on stuff that I know, but whatever. It's okay. Anyway, so we continued on, and we go see ancient Ephesus, which I think is pretty cool. I would say the last part of it I think is really cool. So I'd seen this before, and the first time I seen it, it was all new to me, all this old stuff, and that was cool in itself. Again, I will say this, I'm not a history buff, I'm not a history major. It's not my passion, but I can appreciate it when I'm around it. I can appreciate what I'm seeing. That being said, the first time I saw it, okay, this is kind of cool. Now I'm going to see it again, and I'm with the tour guide it's okay. Not my favorite, I'll be honest. I know he definitely wasn't my dad's favorite. Um, he was okay. I try not to speak negatively of people, in all honesty. And I'm sure as a human he was fine. Just as a tour guide, this wasn't my favorite. Anyway, um, but so I'm seeing this stuff again. Now the newness of it to me, the newness of this old stuff is wearing out. I've seen all of this before, but the thing I was looking forward to the most, that I was happy to do this tour again and be with my friends and show them, was at the end of it. And so the first part, we're going there, we're walking through, we see all these different ancient ruins. It's pretty much like a street. You start at the top and you slowly work your way down, and all through it as you're going down, I mean, what used to be years ago on both sides was all kinds of businesses, whether they were people selling things. There was maybe a place for like a hospital, public bathrooms back then, all those type of things. Uh, you start at the top, and it's a slow decline going down, and around you see mountains. It's really pretty. The surrounding mountains and everything that you're looking at is very pretty around there. But then when you get down towards the bottom, you're coming across one of I don't know if it was one. I don't think it was like an ancient wonder of the world, but there was a library back then that is real famous looking. I think. I mean, I don't know. Is it really famous? I think it is. So it was cool to see that again. I do enjoy being able to see that again. All the other ancient ones that I saw, those are nice too. Even got to see they had a statue of the goddess Nike, who was the goddess of victory, I think it is, and everyone knows what Nike is, the famous shoe brand with the swoosh. That's where they got it from. If you look at it, it's kind of like this. You can kind of even see the swoosh a little bit in the statue. I think it's either within the garb or if the whole thing total just reversed or upside down or something like that. Anyway, so I saw that again, and then all those things that I seen again, being able to see that library, I thought was kind of cool to be able to go back and see that. I would get excited about that. Went inside of it again just to say, hey, I'm here. One of my friends was with me at the time. Um, Not that they have any scrolls anymore in there, but just the fact that it was in there, it looks impressive. To me, it looks impressive. You go past that, and now you're in, I think what they call the Angora, which was like the marketplace or something to that effect. And from there, the tour guide is giving us a tour and telling us things. And to the right of it, there's this old amphitheater. And that was the thing I got excited about the most the first time. I got to go in that amphitheater, and it was really cool that you could be in the center of the stage and speaking, and someone all the way at the top row can hear what you're saying. Um, that's amazing to me. The acoustics and the signs behind it when they didn't have microphones back then, I thought was pretty awesome. The bummer came that they were working on it. And because they were working on it, they closed it off and you weren't able to enter into it. You could see it from the outside. You could walk by it and you could see it. You could see the cranes and everything too. But you can't go in it. And I was super bummed about that. Super bummed. Because I remember that was like one of my favorite things that I saw last time when we did go. Out of all those ancient things that we saw on that day in Ephesus, that theater was my favorite. And now I couldn't see it. I was excited to show it to the friends too that were with me. They got to see it, but they just couldn't go inside. So they seemed all right. They didn't seem too bummed. I think I was more bummed about it than they were. um, they still enjoyed the tour itself. As we were heading towards the exit, I guess you could say, of there. Something that I saw this time that I didn't see last time was they kind of had this like little reenactment. They had what would seem to be like a king and a queen and maybe some high officials, some guards, Centurion guards, whatever the case is. And then they brought two guys in addition with it to do like a little battle amongst each other, or it's almost like gladiator in a way. Um, you could watch them do a fight and see who won. No one got killed or anything. Obviously, it's a reenactment. No one's going to die anyway. But the winner didn't kill the other person. They just, I don't know, the other person submitted to him, so to speak. But I hadn't seen that before. They didn't. If they did do it last time, I didn't see it. But or it could have been just something new since the last time it went. Right now, I'm recording this in 2025. The last time I went was 2022. It was the year my mom died. We went as a family trip to Greece. Anyway, but from there, you look back, you can see the theater, and we walked past there, and there's a little place that you could use. You could shop around. They had snacks that you could get. They had the bathroom you could use. Um, and then you would exit there. I didn't buy anything. I looked in there, but because I did want to get some candy, but I didn't get it there. Walk through it, and they got a bunch of other stores. People trying to hound you, get you to come. We were kind of looking at some things. My friends were looking at some things. Next, you know, the bus driver comes like, or the tour guy comes. Like, we got to go. All right, so we get out of there. The previous time that we went, we also stopped at a rug factory. This time we didn't stop at a rug factory. It was a pretty big factory that we saw. I thought it was fascinating. We didn't buy a rug, but they were beautiful, absolutely gorgeous rugs. Super expensive, but I guess it's worth it. And we got to see the process of it. This one was a little different. The fact that they took us back to town, right where the ship was at, and then from there took us into a store for like the whole rug experience thing. It wasn't the factory that we had seen that I had seen previously. This was a store. None of my friends were getting rugs. Me and my dad had already seen it, so we just said, thank you, and we left. And then we started walking around. We wanted to do a little shopping. Now we're in town. And here's where now it's a little different than last time I went too. Similar to like each one of these things, each one of these places I've been to before, there were similarities, but now I'm seeing different things too. Now we're back in Kusadasi. We're not in Ephesus anymore. We're in Kusadasi. A bustling little city there, full of shops and restaurants and all kinds of things. We started walking around to do a little shopping. Friends wanted to get some things, looking around. And one thing about Kusadasi is they are relentless when it comes to wanting you to come in and buy their stuff. It's a good place. If you have trouble saying no to someone, and I do actually. Someone one time when told me you have trouble saying no to people, and I was like, yeah, actually, that's actually true. I do. Here's a good place to get practice because they are hounding you and in your face. Just give you a heads up on that. You can walk by one store, the guy's come in here, and and he's trying to get you in there to buy this, buy this, buy this. You say no to him one, two, three times, whatever, and walk past. The very next guy in the very next door, after he just saw you say no three times to that person, is now going to shoot his shot and be like, come here, look at this, and it could be the exact same thing. It's like I just said no to them. What makes you think I'm going to say yes to you? But that's what they do. And they were all over you when it comes to that. Not only the stores, but even like the restaurants. were like that too. Come here, eat this. I got this. Let me show you what I have. All over. Now, if you thrive on that type of thing, you're gonna love it. Some people they like that way of going about shopping and whatever. They enjoy that. Cool. I and if you know me as a travel agent, I am not a pushy salesman. If you've interacted with me, if I got to sell you a cruise or anything, I do not like to push anything on you. I don't like people being pushy with me, so I try not to be pushy with everyone else. I like to be nice, informative. I like to be helpful. Let that be my sales pitch, so to speak. I am not one to try to force anything on you. Everyone's got their different sales style. There is like a whole, it's like everyone is all in your grill. I think one person wasn't, and that's who we decided to do business with because they weren't like that. We just got, I know I got tired of it. My dad got tired of it. I think the friend, after like a little bit, my friends were like, all right, we're heading back. So once again, I found myself, me, my dad, and another couple, same couple that stayed in town back in Lindos. That didn't go up. And then wanted a massage later. We were with them. The rest of their family, they're all, for the most part, family. And there was one other couple that wasn't family. They all went back. So I was going to go back too, but I decided to stay. We walked around. Eventually, we sat down at a local place just to kind of sit for a minute. We were inside. We were sitting on these like these cushions, soft. No, they were somewhat soft, I guess. These cushions. Got a drink there. Anytime we could get like on Wi-Fi, we would do it, as we didn't have the Wi-Fi package on the ship. To try to post either pictures or communicate with people back home. Anyways, uh, so we sat down for that and then continued on, did shopping, whether it was souvenirs or anything. I think I got some socks, some local socks. It was like 10 pairs for €5. Thought that wasn't too bad. Um, and then we also eventually did go to eat um, lunch as well. We went and eat lunch, and lunch wasn't bad. It was, what did I get? I think we all kind of shared like a big platter of food. Is that what happened with that? Anyways, lunch wasn't bad. There was a guy. It, it was, I guess you could say, like almost like a traveling baker. I think there was a bakery that he was associated with, but then loaded up like a cart and then pushed it around. So while my friends were looking, I don't know, I think she was looking for a handbag or something. This guy came and we ended up getting a couple of eclairs, which were pretty good. I got to admit, I ate, even for me, as much as I love sugar, I did have a lot of sugar that day because I forgot I ate a bunch of something for breakfast. And then while we were walking around, I guess one of the things that they do, I got kind of popular on Instagram. I didn't know about it until just recently, until they did it. But they have like these ice cream vendors. Use these long sticks and they kind of like mess with you with the ice cream. They'll hold the cone and there's a few cones and they're trying to hand it to you and they'll take it away or they'll poke you in the stomach with it or all kinds of different things. I didn't realize those things. It's kind of like in jest, for fun. Um, like a little show to go along with you getting the ice cream. Anyways, my friends wanted to just be a part of that. They got the ice cream, didn't want the ice cream, so I got an ice cream cone out of it, and I was like, all right, well, don't throw it away. I'll take it. And then later on, I got the eclair. Hope my doctor's not listening to this right now. Actually, yeah, you probably wouldn't want to know the things I eat. A lot of sweets. My downfall, let me tell you. Anyway, so we did that, and a lot of after a while of being there, I thought it was nice. It's like this old town bazaar. I think it was that I saw a sign for it, and that's kind of it. You got a lot of different shops, a lot of different people trying to haggle with you and want to sell you things. Um, and there was some pretty streets along with it too. And I mean, it's not totally horrible, but after a while, like I think I'm a pretty patient guy for the most part. After a while, though, I will hit my limit and I'm done. And I finally did hit my limit of just everyone harassing, come here, buy this, buy this, buy this, and just a lot of smoke. I'm not a smoker too, and a lot of smoke in my face too. And after a while, I'm like, All right, guys, I'm done. I'm heading back to the ship. Have fun. And my dad ended up coming with me. To get there, I was like, where are we going? There wasn't all these clear signs. We did eventually get there, but I know we walked through this one fish market area. Um, and I couldn't help but think of my friend because he loves fishing that was on the trip with us, loves fishing. He fish every day. Uh, Saw a bunch of fish that they had out there. I'm curious. It was like, I wonder if he saw this, if he liked any of this. Went through there, and then to get from that point back to the ship was a gauntlet of more shops and people harassing you one last time to try to have you buy something. There was again one lady. Oh, I take it back. We didn't do business with her, but we did thank her, appreciate her. That we walked by. How you guys doing today? That type of thing. Just hello, friendly, nice smile. I was like, thank you, thank you for not harassing us and uh, being all over us, and appreciated her. Um, and while in there, we even talked to a couple that we met. I think they were from the UK. Talked with them a little bit. I kept seeing them throughout the trip. Nice couple, young couple, and so got to talk with them a little bit. But again, after a while, I'm like, all right, guys, I'm heading back to the ship. I need to get back on. I'm done with this, and I did. And that was it. That was Turkey. We I love I do love that tour that goes to Ephesus. I was bummed about the um, the theater being worked on that you couldn't go inside of it. It's cool to see it on the it's cool to see it on the outside, but it's even more awesome to be able to see inside. Seeing that library is really cool. If you like ancient ruins, if you're a big history, you will love this. I mean, you will absolutely love this. I do, and I'm not even a history buff guy. I'm not huge into history, and I enjoyed it. In and out of Kusadasi, of all the sales things, it's not bad for me to a point. Everyone's different. You may have an extreme tolerance for it. You may love it. You may not like it at all. And if not, I would suggest not going in there. But if you're okay with it, you want to go in there, even if you go in there for a little bit just to get a couple souvenirs, not going to be too bad. Like I said, I tolerated it for a while, but after a while, I was like, done. So that was Turkey. And got my second time. Well, technically my third time. Again, I've gone to Greece when I was 10 years old. Didn't appreciate anything, but I went with my mom's parents, my grandparents from the States, and we stayed with my grandparents, my dad's parents in Greece. We were there for a month. And throughout that, we went all over the place. We went on a cruise. That was technically my first ever cruise. I was like 10 years old on some Greek cruise line that I can't remember the name of the cruise line. I do remember the name of the ship. It was the Triton. I do remember that. It had like these two smokestacks. But I knew nothing of cruises, didn't appreciate them, didn't care, knew nothing about history, didn't care. I was 10 years old. I could say that where I went to was unique and an experience, but at 10 years old, just uh, you don't appreciate it that much. But now going back, I do. While I was 10 years old, we did go to. I do remember we did go to Turkey at one point. Um, so I guess it was technically my third time in Turkey, and my first. Consider, I guess technically I've been in Asia too, with that being the case. Anyways, so that was Turkey. We leave Turkey. That's that was the last of our tours that we had. We had four straight tours in a row, and now this is four straight days in a row. This was day two. Now we're winding down to the final 2 days on the cruise. The next day we are going to one of my favorite places to visit, and that is Santorini. That's what I'm wearing my shirt for. Santorini, beautiful, gorgeous Santorini. If you see the picture behind me, that's Santorini. Usually when you see pictures of Greece and you see those white buildings with the blue domes, that's Santorini. It's an island. It's the city of it's like way up high. It's just so phenomenally gorgeous. And I was super excited to go back, super excited to see it again. And once again, I was super excited to see my friends, show them see what how they like it, how they enjoy it, and following dealing with the the people in Kusadasi just constantly harassing you. It was kind of nice to not have to deal with that anymore. There's obviously plenty of shops in Santorini too, but they're not relentless like that they are here, that they were in Turkey. Anyway, so we get to Santorini. Now, Santorini, recently, there was an earthquake that happened and it affected Santorini. I think they even had to like, do they have to evacuate? Maybe. But there's where the cruise normally docks, there's like this cable car type of thing that goes up and down and you can purchase it. That's what we did last time. And when we went last time, it was, as I mentioned, we did 6 stops in 4 days. Santorini was the last stop on the last day. We were only there for a few hours. We got there in the evening time. It was light out, but eventually got turned. We saw the sunset, which was gorgeous, turned dark, absolutely beautiful, all of it. We were only there for a few hours. But we took that cable car up and then we bought it and took it again down. Nice and easy. Well, that isn't running. It wasn't running at the moment. I don't think it is maybe at the moment. I'm sure eventually it will run again. But it wasn't running because of what was happening at the earthquake. That earthquake affected us so much that cruise ships actually weren't even going there. Thankfully, our cruise ship was one of the few that were allowed to go there. Santorini is one that you do not dock at the port. It docks, it stops a little bit further out, and then you take another ship and go into land. That is called tender. It is one of the only port on the trip that we had to tender. The next day we thought maybe we would have to, but it didn't. So this was the only one that we had to tender. We got on this other boat, went in. So as I mentioned before, we have 9 people all together in our party. This was the last 4 we all had excursions for. This was the first of 2 that we did. With that being said, that other couple that I mentioned, the one that loves to fish, actually his wife got them an excursion, not through Celebrity, but just an outside charter that they booked that was like a fishing experience for him. I was super happy that he was able to do it because I know how much he loves to fish. I know how much that would mean to him to be able to say he fished in the Mediterranean Sea. So they weren't with us that day. They had their own thing going on, and that's cool. It's your vacation. Do what you want to do. Definitely is not going to upset me or hurt my feelings if there's something else you want to do, by all means. The rest of us went on shore together, and where we went, where the tender boat dropped us off at, they had these shuttle buses, and these shuttle buses went up the side of a mountain, back and forth, up and down. And it was amazing to watch these guys. I got to give these drivers credit. It was amazing to see like these. That wasn't super tight, but it's a 2-lane road, and they're able to swing around back and forth, back and forth. If you're a little nervous of heights, you probably were a little nervous of this. I'm not. I was fine with it, but for those that might not be, it may have been a little bit. You might have closed your eyes at some point. Anyways, we got up there safely, and we go up there, drops us off, and from there we start walking into town a little bit, I guess you could say. Now I'm again I've been to Santorini, but now I'm at a place I had never been to before on Santorini, where the few hours that we got to spend before was in a different part of the island, and now I'm at a completely different part of the island. So I'm getting to see an island that I love, but see it new. So we start walking. We started making arrangements to first figure out what we're trying to do here, because we didn't have an excursion that we were going on. We walked down a little bit, tried to use the bathroom. We found this like little coffee pastry shop that we could use. They had a nicer bathroom in there. We go in there, get a coffee, use the bathroom, try to figure it out. We just start walking. Not quite sure what to do yet. So we start walking through the streets. We're doing shopping, getting souvenirs. We start heading towards where I guess you could say you could see a better view of the water. And I mean, you look all around, it's just gorgeous. You can see our ship from where we are. The water's so beautiful. All the different islands and the mountains that you see, it's breathtaking views up there. Just absolutely breathtaking views. So we couldn't help but be up there for a little bit, just eyeballing the scenery, being in awe of it all. Well, while we're walking there, we ended up coming across, um, I guess you could say like a tour guide, a shuttle service, whatever you want to call it, called Santorini 24, Santorini 24 hour. Yeah, I think it was 24 hour. That we ended up booking, um, I guess you could say a tour with them. They uh, they had a nice van that we could all get into, and the driver from there took us to different parts of the island, different things that we could see. I can't remember the different areas' names because what it looks like, how it's spelled is not exactly what it is, how it's pronounced, and I don't remember how it's pronounced, and I don't want to do it any injustice. But there was, I want to say, a good 3 or 4 different spots that he took us, and we get out, we look around, we're seeing some beautiful scenery again, scenery that pictures just, I say, it just doesn't do it justice. It just doesn't do it justice. If you see it in person, you see the picture, it's beautiful, but you see it in person, it's just even more breathtaking. So we get to see a lot of that, different spots, different areas. But eventually we do sit down to get some lunch. And when we sit down, we have the view there, and it is probably one of the most beautiful views that I've ever got to enjoy while having lunch. Um, Absolutely loved it. We continue on, and at a certain point, he takes us all the way up to like the very top part of the island. And we are just looking down. Everything looks just so small down there. So much, I'm looking around, and it's so incredible. I feel like I could just reach up and high five the clouds. That's how high up I felt like we were. Um, they, it's amazing how beautiful it is. It really is. And I feel like I can say it a million times. You just need to go see it. And again, if you want to go see it, let me know so I can help you get there. But we're up there enjoying it, and I could see our ship at one point. We could see uh, the whole island, and I'm thinking, wow, I really didn't get to experience this the first time I came. And this is kind of what's motivating me to do the podcast again about it, even though I've done a podcast before on Santorini. I didn't get to see the whole thing. We were only there for a few hours. This time we were there all day, and we booked this guy, which I will encourage. I will help you book him too, if you do go there and want to see the entire island. Um, and they're open 24/7. Uh, I didn't get to see all this, so not I didn't. I went in there thinking I don't know if I could fall in love with Santorini anymore based on what I did before, and sure enough, I did. I got to see how gorgeous and big this island is. I thought it was actually small, but now that I got to see all, I'm like, oh, this island is really big. It's huge, and I fell in love even more with Santorini. It's so gorgeous. We got to go to another place that we walked. I could see where we were at the top of it. We were from our angle point, but we walked through it, and it was really windy. I do remember that. Um, I don't know. It was like it was some sort of building. I don't think it was a lighthouse. Was it a church maybe? Anyways, we walked by that, walked through there, and then eventually he took us down even closer to the water, and we got to see the beach that had like black sand, which was really unique. Um, I didn't go down there because I'm not a fan of going of sand, but we did get to go down there and take a look at it. Our friends all went down there. I didn't. And they took us to another part where we got to see kind of like the marina area, use the bathroom there, and we stopped at a bakery, a local bakery, got some things there. He showed us this one area where there's these little, what looks like a bird's nest, but they they plant some trees in there, some kind of plant. I forgot what he said that they were, but it was something that was kind of oh, what do you call it? It was something special to him. I just don't remember what it was. But we got to see that before we headed back. And when we got on the tender, just going back as we're heading back to the ship, just being able to look at the island of Santorini and how gorgeous it is with the water and everything. I had to take pictures of it. as we were approaching our ship, and it was bouncy, right? It was pretty bouncy. The ride coming over was pretty bouncy on the tender. Going back, we figured it would be too, but we went up on top. It actually ended up not being too horrible. And it was just, I think it was an enjoyable tender ride, just going back and seeing what the island from the water down below. Absolutely just phenomenal. I love Santorini so much. Definitely my favorite thing to go see and visit when I go to Greece. So if you have a chance to go, allow me to book it for you. I think you would absolutely love it as well. All right, we leave Santorini that day. If you notice, I'm not talking about anything else as regards what we did on the ship, because that type of stuff I covered on my podcast on Celebrity Cruise Line. One thing I failed to mention about Celebrity Cruise Line, I'll just mention now because I feel like it's worth giving a shout out to. That was probably one of the nicest smelling ships I'd ever been on. I know that's a random thing to say, and I remember asking some of my friends what they thought. One guy, he said he smelled sulfur, and he showed me an area where he did. Okay, fine, but like just walking through the decks to get to my room and things, I was like, man, something smells nice around here. And I kept smelling. I was like, this must be the ship. The ship smells really nice. But anyways, the stuff that we did and more details about the ship and everything is on that podcast. So feel free to listen to that. This one I'm talking about all the other stuff that I had done before. I'm doing again. Finally, our last stop on the cruise ship was Mykonos. Mykonos was a place that when I went the first time a few years ago on Celestial, that was our very first stop. On the very first day we left, it was the first time I'd ever gone to a port the day we disembarked, or the day we left. Usually it's you leave and the maybe the next day or someplace. That was the first time I'd ever gone on a cruise. We hit Mykonos that night, and we got to be there for a few hours. Similar to Santorini, where we got there, it was light out, but by the time we were done, it was dark time. Um, in fact, I think by the time we even got into town, it was pretty much dark at that point. As we walked around, went up to the windmill, we did that exact same thing actually, pretty much the exact same route. Um, Now, we didn't all go off together. At first, uh, my dad and that other couple that had the massage before, they went off earlier to check some things out. I think some of the rest of us wanted to sleep in a little bit. We didn't feel the need to rush off right away. But we would meet them after we all came in together, which we did. And they did come back to the meeting point. We all got together. We walked into town. Now I'm kind of seeing it more in the light of day because, like I said, when we got there, it was daylight, but it ended up turning dark pretty much by the time we got there. Um, so we walk into town, get to see the water by the beach there. You could probably go in there if you wanted to. We didn't know. I don't think anyone brought their swim trunks, but we're walking around it, and I can see the windmills. From before I couldn't see him last time. We went up there, but it was dark time, so I saw him only when we got up there. This time I can see him in the day. I can see him from afar first. And we take pretty much that exact same route because I remember having to walk through like restaurants in order to get there, in addition to other things, which I thought was kind of unique. You're hugging the water, you're right there through these restaurants. We did that back then and this time. And start walking up there, go through town. You kind of pass the town, and then you kind of start heading up there. As I said, got to see him in the light of day this time. There's a little bit more than I thought. For some reason, I only thought there was maybe like a couple, but I think there's like at least a half a dozen. So got to take some pictures of those. They're pretty cool to look at, I think. Not that I'm some big windmill guy, but to be able to look at them in person, I thought it was kind of cool. And then from there, we start walking past that. We stop at this place to grab a coffee. Real pretty inside. They had a lot of greenery and flowers. We got something to drink, sat down, used the bathroom. We were there for a little bit. And then we continued walking on, and we noticed that they had different colors for different doors and um, different, like if you were out in your patio and I don't know, the little fence that's around you, whatever it's called, I don't know, railing. those were different colors. You might see different blues, red, brown, whatever. The shutters, they might be different colors. So that was kind of nice. We did make our way eventually to my dad's favorite bakery and got some sweets there. Are you noticing a pattern here? On this trip, there was a lot of times that we sat down for lunch and then we or went to a bakery. That happened a lot. Anyways, that same company that we used in Santorini, we decided to use in Mykonos. Uh, they had their services there too. So we call a guy there, get a hold of him. He comes, and he also comes with a van. Now, initially, there's nine of us in our our group, and it sounded like he had only room for eight. I was like, okay, you guys go ahead. I've I've seen Mykonos. I can go back on the ship. I can take some videos, try to do some vlogs that I'm thinking about getting into. I've never done one before, but I was working on getting some footage to make a vlog. See if that I still got to figure that out how to do it. But anyways, you guys go ahead. I'll sit this one out and I'll sacrifice it. So we're waiting there for the guy to come. We're by the bakery. There's shops around. There's a little cafe. Go there. He finally comes, and he comes with a van that is actually a pretty decent size, very nice, and it can hold all of us, myself included. Okay, we'll go there. Well, I'll go too. And just like yesterday, the day before when we were in Santorini, it was very similar to the fact that he took us all around Mykonos. So many different spots. It was just so gorgeous as well. If I have to rank them, I mean, I would probably give Santorini still my top spot, and Mykonos is maybe right under it or something like that. Uh, but the water is gorgeous. We get to go to see different. I don't say even beaches, but I mean, we did go to a beach at one point. There was a few people there, but you could see. Uh, Actually, no, I take it back. We went to like a resort called the Tropicana, which I'd have to look into. If that's something that interests you, I could probably help you with. But they had their own private beach there. And thankfully, the woman was nice enough to let us go in there. Got to look up and down and see the water, the coastline. There was people there. They had a nice bathroom that we got to use. Um, I'm sure uh, a gorgeous place to be able to visit Mykonos, to be able to stay at to visit Mykonos. Um, yeah, real nice beach there. We go around different spots of the island. You know what? I'm thinking yesterday. Okay, so I mentioned Santorini. We went to what was like a lighthouse. I know. I take that back. That was actually Mykonos. He took us to this one point. We walked up to it. It was kind of in the distance. Super windy, and there was some kind of like lighthouse, but all around it had again gorgeous views. Walked around it, walked past it actually, and even kind of they had a little path with rocks that was kind of almost to like an edge of a cliff kind of thing. Went out that way, came back, and just continued on with our trip throughout Mykonos. Absolutely beautiful place, just like Santorini. Again, I'm not gonna. I can say it a million times. You're probably getting sick of hearing me say that word "beautiful," but it just really is. It really is so nice. Yeah, just I would say just under. And then he took us just under Santorini, I think. If I were to judge, someone might look at it and reverse that. You know, everyone's got his different opinions with it. But anyways, we go there, see all that stuff. We got this van that took us all around. Super nice to be able to do it. Nice way to be able to see the city. He takes us directly back to the ship too, which was really nice. Um, and that was our last stop on the cruise. So four in a row that we got to see. Again, we saw Rhodes, we saw uh, Kusadasi, Ephesus, together, all of Turkey pretty much, Santorini, and then Mykonos, and that ended our cruise. The next day we were back in Athens. Podcast doesn't end there because Athens was another spot. I've been to Athens before. I've got to see Athens in the past, and I got to see different things this time too. So we arranged for another. As soon as we got off the ship, we went, and there was a guy that picked us up. We waited a few minutes for him to get there, but he had also like mini van, bus, whatever you want to call it, that he took us in. And from Santorini to Mykonos to Athens, our um, van that we would go into, it just kept getting nicer and nicer, bigger and better and nicer. And so this van that we took, he took us into Athens. We had all our stuff with us. Our friends had a hotel that they were going to be staying at, but check-in wasn't until like 3, and we got off the ship, and it's in the morning when you come in. I want to say we left 9, 10 o'clock, whatever it was. So we had some time to kill. So we were going to visit Athens, and one of the first places that we go, oh boy, what is it called? Sunio? Pretty much we go up super high, and as I mentioned when we were in Mykonos, we went to that lighthouse and it was super windy there. Apparently they were getting this like wind weather for a few days, and when we went up to the top here, and I mean it took a lot of walking to get up there, it was incredibly windy. I mean, your phone could blow off. It's a good thing we ate so many sweets. We probably would have blown off. It was so windy up there, but just amazing the view. How big Athens is. You're looking around, you're panning around all the way around 360 view, and you just see buildings and buildings and buildings and buildings and buildings all over the place. Just it's incredible. And then of course their Acropolis, which is the most famous of them all. A lot of the different Acropolises you could see from up there. I was able to zoom in and get a picture. You could see it from a distance, small, but I zoomed in as well. And so we got to see that. I want to say there was not far from there one of those stadiums that they had the Olympics in years ago, or even more, yeah, more recently. I think they did it too. Got to see that from up there, and it's just incredible view up there. So but we're getting wind blown super crazy while we're up there. As gorgeous as these views are, all the way around, all this panoramic view that we're seeing, it's also incredibly windy. So we ended up ducking down. They had a nice little coffee shop in there. Um, no one was in there, so I didn't even know if it was open. But we got in there, sat down just to kind of get out of the wind, and we have and there's windows all around, so we still get the nice view. We're out of the wind, out of the chilly wind, and now somebody comes and starts serving us coffee. Well, whatever we wanted. I just got water, um, and now we can actually sit down, relax, enjoy the view, enjoy it. We were there for maybe a good half hour to an hour, something like that. But we had tickets to go to the Acropolis, and we had a time frame that we were supposed to be going in. At this point, as we headed towards the top of this mountain, on our way there, we did stop and pick up a tour guide. Um, One of the many different certified tour guides that we got to meet on this trip. It was very nice and very knowledgeable. Definitely appreciated her. She came, picked her up, and we definitely enjoyed having a tour guide tell us all the different facts. We leave this place, head down, and we go to the Acropolis. Um, so the Acropolis is, I guess, that area, but that building that is so famous that you see, that ancient ruin, is the Parthenon. That's what it's called. Um, so we had a specific time that we were heading up there. She's given us a tour every step of the way, all this history. From up there, as we're walking up towards there, you could look down, you could see old amphitheaters, you could see old, oh, I don't know, like a temple for one of the other gods. I forgot who it was. That used to have maybe like a ton of columns or pillars. Now there's only a handful left, that type of thing. You could see that stadium where they did the Olympics, the first, because the Olympics started there, and I know the marathon originated in Greece, so they had all that. We got to see that in addition to actually going up to see the Parthenon itself, which is absolutely really cool to see in person too. something I had seen before, which is really nice. Um, if you like history, even if you don't like history, I think you would find it pretty amazing. So you go up there, you kind of go through like this little entryway in a way. A lot of people. You're I will say getting the tickets ahead of time through the tour was nice. We bypassed a lot of that, and we went up there. We're still with a big crowd as she's talking. It's super windy too, by the way. But we go up there. We kind of go through that little entryway of columns or whatever to get there. You almost look like that's it, but it's not. But then when you get past it, then you see the Parthenon, and they do have some kind of like scaffolding type of thing up there. It kind of looks like, but that's to kind of like keep it fortified and uh, kind of strengthen it, I guess you could say a little bit. And then there was another one that's near it. I forget which one that is. That's another type of little, I don't know, temple or whatever. That has some ancient things in it there too, some ancient ruins. But so nice views all the way around, as I mentioned, of the city too from there. But we go around it, and one thing that was kind of interesting was that there's no straight lines. They mentioned that there's no straight lines going up those columns or those pillars. Um, they kind of like curve in, but it was almost like it was the first ever like optical illusion built on a building, many centuries ago, because it looks like it could be, but it's not. They kind of start. Yeah, so that's kind of fascinating. But we go all the way around it, north, south, east, and west. Take different pictures of it from the different angles. Um, they have down below. They have the Acropolis Museum, which I got to go to, or the Parthenon Museum, whichever it was. I could see it from up there, but we didn't go to it this time. I got to go to it before, which gives a lot of history of it too. This time we actually had um, a tour guide with us, which was pretty nice. There's like I don't say a hole in it, but there is on one side of it, part of it that got hit by oh, I forgot who damaged it, but it got hit by like a some kind of explosive bomb type of thing back in whatever war it was centuries ago. That so there's like a somewhat of a gaping hole on one side of it, and then there's individual things that are up there that are telling a story. Really, I mean, just think about that. They did all that on the top of a mountain years ago with no Home Depot, no Lowe's, no modern conveniences that we have today. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. Definitely, if you're going to Greece, it's worth seeing. I felt bad that that couple that we've mentioned before that had a massage and walked around with a lot. They immediately left that day, so they weren't with us. Their flight was they were going back the day that we got back from the cruise. The rest of us all stayed for a couple days at least. Some stayed even more. In fact, as I record this, my dad is still there. um, so they didn't get to see all that. But if you go to, which is kind of a shame. I mean, I get it. Everyone's got different circumstances, and they had to go back to work and everything. That's understandable. But if you go to Greece, if you go all the way to Athens, you think if you're there, take a look at the Parthenon. Just like if you go all the way to Pisa, see the Leaning Tower of Pisa. If you go to the area, wherever, think of a landmark. If you go all the way to that area, might as well go see the landmark, right? But then you get a chance to. Anyways, majority of the day we got to spend in Greece, looking at or in Athens that day. Um, we got to see on top of the mountain there. I want to say it's called Sunio. If Sunio is a different place, I apologize. I'm pretty sure it is. Then we got to go to the Parthenon on top of the Acropolis was really nice. And then we went down from there, went into the city of Athens. Uh, Guess what? We got something to eat, right? We stopped at a local restaurant. And while we were at a local restaurant, I thought this was crazy. We went to a local restaurant, and right across the street from us was this little store that was called Detroit. I thought that was pretty crazy that there was a Detroit store in Athens. We had to go in it just because. It was right across from this little restaurant that we sat down and ate lunch at. And I thought it was kind of cool. So there was Detroit that had a hometown uh, connection. And then there was also when we were in, and I mentioned this in another podcast about Cyprus, but while we were in Cyprus and looking around Nicosia, there was a place I mentioned Ypsilanti, which I thought that was kind of cool because there's an Ypsilanti, Michigan, just down the road from us. In fact, it's right next to Ann Arbor. They have it's where Eastern Michigan University is at, and Ypsilanti is a Greek guy. So I thought that was kind of cool. It's a couple hometown connections I saw there. The Ypsilanti there in Cyprus and then the Detroit store in Athens. So we finished there, continued walking around, did a little shopping, eventually hit a bakery, sat down, got some sweets there. And even after, we got all these sweets, even after on the house, they gave us some ice cream. That was kind of cool. Like from time to time, we would get things on the house, which I really appreciated. The first night there, before we went on the cruise, me and my dad and my friend were getting some pizza, and they came by, gave us a complimentary like little. It was like rosé wine mixed with some sort of homemade jam. Oh, it was delicious. This one they gave us free ice cream. I think the next day, what did we get on the house? They gave us orange cake at a restaurant that we stopped at the next day, which I'll get into in a minute. But it's not uncommon for them to give you something on the house. I'm like, we never get anything on the house here in the States. It's like you want something, you're paying for it. There, different experience, which is kind of nice. And a different experience is the fact that once you get a table, that's your table. You don't have to rush to get out of there. You can keep it as long as you want because they're not actually exactly working for tips like they are here either. So that's kind of nice. You get to have the freedom of that. All right. So the day we come back from the cruise, we get to tour Athens. Eventually, when that's all done, we got to look throughout the city of Athens again, places I hadn't been to, but got to see the Detroit store, got to see that restaurant, my dad's favorite bakery, and in town got to shop around a little bit. Stuff that I hadn't got to experience before, even though I've been to Athens. Our driver takes us back. My friends get dropped off at the hotel, check in, take me and my dad back to where my cousin, we were staying at my dad's cousin's house. And then the next day, get picked up by the same service, and we go to the hotel, pick up the friends. And my dad wasn't feeling good that night, so he wasn't with us. Um, I didn't, yeah, he wasn't with us. So pick him up, and we head on out. And in the we get to took a tour of a place that we really wanted to see in the morning, and then from there we headed out towards Corinth. And when we get towards Corinth, one of the things that they have there is the Corinth Canal. The Corinth Canal is pretty cool to look at. It's not something you're going to spend all day there looking at. You might be there for a little bit. We were kind of in a somewhat of not a hurry or rush, but we were supposed to meet a tour guide in ancient Corinth at a certain time. We were falling a little bit behind, and so we we stopped still because we wanted to see it. You know, how often are you in Corinth to be able to see the Corinth Canal? And it's really, you look down, it's pretty deep down there. A deep drop from here to the water. It connects two different seas, and it helps for mariners to be able to go through there instead of having to go all the way around. One of the areas, I forgot it's what area they'd have to go around to do it, but it prevents them from having to do that. So it saves them a lot of time and money to be able to go through this canal. I do remember seeing this canal as a kid, and I think we went a few years ago when Celine was with us. And I remember seeing a ship come through there. We didn't get to see a ship or any vessels come through this time. There was something in the water a little bit further down by another bridge, but nothing that was traveling. So we didn't get to see any ships come through. But I remember as a kid seeing a ship come through, and even I could even see the sailors down there looking up at us, waving. I think one was kind of like, "Come on, jump!" I think he was just joking around. Uh, anyways, so that was kind of cool to see. They have some stuff there you could shop, get something to eat if you wanted to. I went in there briefly, but we had to go, so I could because I really needed to eat something. But the tour guide, not the tour guide, the driver, the owner of it, he had like a little energy bar type of thing he gave me, so that was nice. That helped. We get to ancient Corinth, and you could see like on the top of the mountain, there's the Acropolis again, and I think that was like one of the highest Acropolises in Greece. And they usually did kind of build them up high. So as I mentioned, there's different Acropolises, different cities. The one in Athens, the Parthenon and Acropolis in Athens is the most famous, the one that you see the most of. But we saw the one in Lindos, the one I talked about. We saw now this one here in Corinth. We didn't go up there. You can go up there. We didn't. They had in this area. So we got there. We were a little bit late from what we were. We told the certified tour guide, and we had to use the bathroom. So I could tell he was a little peeved with us, a little annoyed. He ended up being probably my least favorite tour guide that we had. Um, like out of the one, two, three, four, six maybe tour guides that we had all together, all the girls were great, and the guys were like, okay, go figure. Um, but anyways, in that area outside, there was like this courtyard, and they had all kinds of statues and maybe like tombstones that we got to see. All the statues were headless though, which was kind of interesting. And apparently, I think it was like some sort of, I don't know, some sort of zealot religious group of people that destroyed them years ago. I think that's what they kind of mentioned. Um, anyway, but a lot of artifacts there. And you could look up and again, you could see the Acropolis. We didn't go in there, but there was now, but we went inside because they had like a museum. He was giving us a tour of the museum, and we could see, like on the floor, they had it where you could see like the different peninsulas or uh, uh, bodies of water, and then you could see like the blue um, one that connected it. That was the Corinth Canal. What it was, the two seas that it was connecting. And then there was some history about it that they had on the wall. He gave a little spiel on that. Um, and then also to just different artifacts and things that they had unearthed over there, statues of people, or yeah, um, all kinds of things. I've mentioned this before. I won't go into all the details. First off, I don't remember all the details of all the history behind these things. Um, they're fascinating to look at, that's for sure. But I'll also leave it so that if you do go, I'll leave it for the tour guides to give you all the history. Um, there were like head busts of certain ancient people like Nero or Augustus, people like that. Kind of interesting to be able to see that, amongst other things. And then, so we were in there for a good little while, and wouldn't you know it, while we were in there, the tour guide that we had, the very first tour we took back in Thessaloniki, which I did a podcast on that. Feel free to listen to that. That tour guide, Chrisia, or Chris, I feel so bad that I don't remember how to exactly pronounce her name. She did a wonderful job. She's a super high energy girl. We saw her there again. She was she had a group of people from Kenya that she was giving a tour to her. So I guess these certified tour guides can go all over because we saw her in Thessaloniki and now we're all the way in ancient Corinth, and here she is again. I kind of wish she was our tour guide for that, but oh well. Anyways, we saw her. That was cool. And then so after we were done with the inside, then when we went on the outside, and we could see like the agora. There was another temple to one of their gods. I forgot which one it was. That used to have a ton of columns, because we saw I guess you could say the model over the blueprint of it inside. But now it's only down to like 7 columns, not as much now. And there was a couple I think that were maybe on the ground as well. Um, so we got to see different things there, and then an area where they would do like uh, I don't know, like a public forum type of thing. The people that were the high officials, they'd be up on top looking down, and they may discuss a matter or a prisoner and see what was going to happen with them. In that same area, there was a lot of uh, shops that people would go and buy or trade things. Hey, I'll give you this cow for your 3 goats. Whatever. I don't know, whatever they did back then. They had what they called a Turkish bath. Um, and so we could see kind of ruins of it. Some of it was open field, but other of it you could see ruins of it and where they did all these things. So that was fascinating to be able to look at. Again, ancient Corinth. I may have gone there when I was 10. I can't quite remember. We saw a lot of ancient things when I was younger, but we may have been there. Anyways, after we were done with that, tour guide left. That was really cool to see, if you, especially if you like history. Um, from there, we took a trip all the way out to. It took about an hour to get there to Nafplio, which I had been to last time before. Last time when we went there, little town by the water, we took like a little tr trolley like thing around the town and got to tour. They have way up high on the hill again, another something like Acropolis. We got there and we went to a seafood restaurant and sat down and ate there. Um, and their food was really good. This was the one that gave us free orange cake at the end on the house. After that, we walked around the town a little bit. They had different shops. Not everything was open. They kind of, and this was because it was like they're more open at night kind of thing. Like during the day, not everything was open. We were still there kind of early for them, I guess you could say. So we did a little bit of shopping, not too much, and then we started heading back because we still had another 2 hours to go to get back to like Athens area. But on the way there, the drive was real pretty. A lot of open fields um, and like houses in the middle of nowhere kind of thing. I remember that drive before. And it's a pretty drive. Um, and it's a pretty town too. I kind of felt bad that my friends didn't get to really experience the town too much. We went there and immediately went to eat. And you sit down to eat, and it's not like 10 minutes. You're sitting down an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is. Um, and so it took a lot of time. By the time we're done, we do a little shopping. It's time to go back. But really nice. And that the the one that we his name is Theodor that owns a company that does the shuttle service, transportation service. Highly recommend him if you want to if you do want to go. If you allow me to book it for you, definitely highly recommend him for that because I thought did a phenomenal job. Him and his company, very nice. And while I was out there, I kind of got lazy. Wasn't purposely trying to grow anything. I just got lazy. Didn't feel like doing it. Didn't feel like shaving. And after a couple of weeks, this is what has transpired. um, and upon coming back, I've received compliments on it. And people like it, and so I'm like, all right, I guess I'll keep it for now. So we'll see how long I keep it. Next podcast, you may see it gone. Next podcast, you may see it even more full. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, um, yeah. So that was my return. All those things that I mentioned from Nafplio, Corinth, Athens. I'm going backwards now. Mykonos, Santorini, uh, Turkey, and Rhodes. I had been to all those places before, and I've even done podcasts. Feel free to still listen to those podcasts. But because I went back, and I had no plans of doing another podcast on all of it, and I didn't do separate ones. I combined them all. But because I went there and got to experience new things, and saw and some beautiful stuff, especially Santorini, and just fell in love with that even more, and just all the other places. I felt like, you know what, I'm gonna do another podcast on it again because now I have even more greater appreciation for these places, different things that I got to see, and just have a new viewpoint on them, a new, like I said, a new appreciation for them that I didn't have before. Even though I did have an appreciation before, but now I get to see even more. I have been to Greece now a total of 4 times in my life. The first time I was a baby, don't even remember it, hardly even count it, but it is technically the case. The second time I was 10 years old. I was with my grandparents, and as I mentioned, I was kind of young, didn't really appreciate it. I appreciated some things, but more so my mind um, was on video games. And I even remember when we came back, I was with my grandparents. We were at a fast food restaurant. I forgot who we were talking to. Just had come back, and stupid little kid that I was, someone asked me about it. I was like, oh, I hated it. And I do remember because I did get eaten. Something I was sleeping on had bed bugs, and I got eaten up all over the place. That was pretty miserable. But again, I was just a kid. I didn't know it. And my grandfather was a wonderful man. Didn't say anything at the time, but later mentioned something to my mom, and my mom was like, "Why would you say that?" So I called him to apologize. Like, no, I didn't have a horrible time. I appreciated it because you did take me to Greece for a month. Anyways, but So even though that was technically my second time, that's in my mind the first time. And when I went on there, I went on my first ever cruise. I will not do a podcast on that because it's way too long. The companies I don't even think are around anymore. But we did do a 7 day cruise. I was on a ship called the Triton. I don't remember the cruise line. I think my dad might know. My grandparents maybe know. But we did go to different places that I had actually get to go back eventually again. Um, we were there for a month. We also went to an island called Chios. That's where my grandmother was from. Again, I'm not going to be doing a podcast. That's why I'm kind of mentioning it to it now because those were way too far back to remember. We went to an island called Chios. We stayed there for about a week. We also did a 1 day cruise that took us to three different islands that are a little bit closer by. Greece has a ton of islands. Some are inhabited and some are not. It varies. My dad has done that since then. I remember doing that 3 island cruise in 1 day. That is kind of cool. We also took a ferry back and forth to, forgot exactly where. Maybe that was Heos that we took a ferry on. So I remember being on a boat a few times as a kid, but I didn't appreciate it. Uh, I didn't appreciate the meals. I didn't appreciate the entertainment on the ship. I didn't appreciate it. I saw it. I was there, enjoyed it at the moment, I guess you could say, but not fully appreciate it like I do now. And then many years later, we go again. My mom dies in 2022, and my dad wanted to do a family trip to Greece. I guess you could say part of the grieving process. And I'm glad we all got to go. Me, him, my wife, my uncle, aunt, 2 cousins, 3 cousins. We're all that. We got to go out there and be out there for they were out there a couple weeks. We were out there a week and a half. We had to take a cruise on Celestial. My first time on Celestial. My dad's gone plenty of times, and we did six stops in 4 days. That was the most I'd ever done, and I've done podcasts on that. That one you can go back and listen to. And then now, a few years later, I went with my dad. I wasn't originally going to do. I booked it for my dad. I booked it for everyone else. It's something I wasn't going to do, but someone that was going to go with my dad couldn't make it. At the last minute, I kind of stepped in and went, and I'm glad I did. Got to experience some new things and get to know Celebrity Cruise Line a lot better, and get to see other things that I'd seen before, but have an even more appreciation for them. And it was pretty cool that being at the Parthenon, uh, when I went with my wife a few years ago, every time that we tried to go up to the Parthenon, every time we always got there, it was closed. Every time, somehow, something got in the way, and every time we went there, it was closed. So she got to see it from afar, like below or whatever. She never got to go up to it. So this was my first time going back since I was a kid. When I was 10 years old, we did go up there, and I do remember going up there. So 30 years later, almost 30 years later, here I am, because we went in 95, like August of 95, something like that. And now in 2025, I go back. So almost 30 years later, I got to go back up there. And the guy that did the bus, he when I posted it, he put it's still the same as before or something like that. I was like, yeah, I guess that's true. It still is. Anyways, so yeah, this is really technically my fourth time going to Greece, only third time that I remember, and I'm getting a few more podcasts out of it that didn't think I was going to. Greece is absolutely gorgeous. It is a gorgeous country with delicious food, very friendly people. There's not a lot of crime. You don't go there and worry about too much, in all honesty. It is one of those things that it can be a bucket list item to go see. And the friends that I was with, that they had never gone to Greece, and some first time even on a cruise, some of them, they seem to love it, and they appreciate it. It was like kind of like a once in a lifetime type of trip. But as going on it, they talked about going back again. I didn't think I was going to go back again. This one kind of just happened. All the ducks got in a row to make it work. I'm glad it did. I don't know if I'll get to go back again, in all honesty, because there's so many different places to go see and so many different things to do. I don't know if I'll get to. My dad goes twice a year. He goes in the springtime and in the fall time. Those are two good times to go to Greece because usually the flights aren't as expensive. It's not as hot as it is in the summer. It's a little cooler. In fact, we had actually pretty windy some of the times. And also, there's not as many people, too. Some of those places that you go, I mean, you're cramped with a lot of people during the summer. So, fall time and springtime are two good times to go to Greece. With all that being said, it is definitely something I encourage. Go see it once. Sort of like I say with a cruise line. And if you can go and see it with a cruise, there you go. You're seeing a lot of different destinations all in one trip. Um, go see it. Go see it. Try it at least once. Go see it at least once. That's what I say about cruises. Go try it at least. Try it at least once. If you don't like it, don't ever do it again. Same with Greece. If you go, if you love it, awesome. If you don't go back. But I think you will, especially because they have a nice balance. There's a lot of rich history, a lot of rich history. A lot of things came from Greece. And I don't say that with I'm being prideful of being Greek because I am full blooded. My dad is from Athens. He was born and raised there. He came when he was 17. He is full blooded Greek. My mom was full blooded Greek too, even though she was born in the States. I am full blooded Greek, but I don't speak very much of it. I'm like, I think they call it Greek American. There's no accent in my voice. If I have an accent, it's a Midwestern accent, not a Greek accent. I can if I'm listening to a conversation, I can pick out maybe a few things here and there, but I can't really speak the language. So I'm not some big Greek prideful guy. And hey, everything came from Greece. I do have a joke because they always talk about how they invented this and they invented that, and this comes from Greece and this comes from. I always say we invented inventions. That's my joke. But steeped in rich history. Granted, a lot of things were mythological, right? They're not real. There's a lot of Greek mythology, but even that could be, I'll say, fascinating and entertaining. But you learn it, and it's like, wow, this is what they truly believed in way back when. So a lot of history. If you love history, it's good to see. Flying into Athens, it kind of reminds me of flying into Southern California. You got those mountains, a little bit more on the drier side, but you're coupling that in with this just absolutely gorgeous Mediterranean Sea that's right next to a different shade of blue. Like, have you seen the blue in the waters in the Caribbean? It's different than the blue of the Mediterranean Sea. Fresh water, very pretty. They're both beautiful to look at. It's just a different type of beauty. And the surrounding islands and areas and cities that are around Greece, it just they're breathtaking. They're fantastic to look at. Or you could be inside of a city and be in the hustle bustle of a city. It has a little bit of everything. Ancient culture, along with new, exciting things to be a part of as well. A lot of museums, if you want it to be museums. I could think of at least a handful that are there. Um, Definitely a place worth going to see at least once in your life, but on the bucket list, if you can, if it's in your means and if it's in your desire to do it, I definitely recommend doing it. And if you do, you know who to contact. Contact me. Let me know. Again, there's a couple ways that you can go about reaching out to me. You can reach out to me through Facebook or Instagram. Both of my handles are Jay's Paradise Travels, Jays. There's no apostrophe in there. Jay's Paradise Travels. You can send me a message through there. You can even see some of the pictures that I've taken of my trip there. Or you can reach out to me through email at j.paradise_travels@gmail.com. That's jay.paradise_travels@gmail.com. You can reach out to me through email as well. Either one of those things, I will be more than happy to help you out. I hope that you enjoyed this podcast. I know it's a little bit on the longer side. I was wrapping up a lot of different places. I didn't want to do individually. Again, going to Rhodes. Again, going to Turkey. Again, I wanted to do it all as one. This was me revisiting Greece again. And even though some of it, like Turkey's technically a different country, but this is all part of someplace I've been. I got to go back and experience some new things I wanted to tell you about, share my excitement with it, share the beauty of it. Even the pictures that are part of it, just it doesn't do it justice for seeing it in person. But hopefully you liked it. You liked it. Hopefully you learned something from it, took something away from it. And if you did, please like the video. That goes a long way. Feel free to write in a comment or two if you've had your own experience um, going to Greece or anything with Greece. Maybe you know a Greek guy. Maybe you know me personally. uh, how we are as a group of people, our culture. We have our good things about us and things we need to work on, just like anything else, right? But I think all in general, a very warm, friendly, welcoming group of people. For the most part, we'll feed you till you explode. That's our thing. Eat, eat, eat. And I was doing the same thing there. Go ahead, eat this, eat that. We're at the dinner table. People come to my house immediately, trying to feed them. And I'm not even a cook. I'm just, You want something to eat? Here's a box of crackers. Whatever. I don't know. Just try to feed everyone. Um, yeah, but feel free to write in a comment about something if you like, and I'll be more than happy to read it and respond to it if I can. Um, and then also too, if you do like this video, in addition to liking it, please share with other people. Maybe other people would be interested in knowing what it's like going to Greece and experience there. Because this is uh, my experience was to be informative as well. So feel free to share it with others. Please share it and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate doing all those things. All those things help podcasters keep their podcast going. And for myself personally, this is my business, trying to continue to make it grow and reach out to as many people as possible, not just in one area, but all over. Get that name out there, Jay's Paradise Travels, to as many people as possible to help book them and make this world a happier place, one vacation at a time. That's my goal. Anyways, thank you again for listening, and I will talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye bye.